Hello and welcome. I am Daisy Bravo coming at you live or on the podcast. I wanted to jump in with a quick live, a quick podcast episode because I have been noticing that so many more people have been requesting to get into the Strong Moms Fitness Facebook group and more downloads to the podcast. I wanted to make sure that everyone here knew who I was, what I'm all about, what the purpose is for this podcast and this Facebook group. So, to you watching and listening, no matter where you are, where you're at in your pregnancy and postpartum journey, I want to welcome you here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daisy, a personal trainer for over 20 years, and I've gone through a transition in my training and have been so lucky in my journey transition to working with pregnant and postpartum women. I Through my journey, I've found that in my personal training education, nothing was discussed when it comes to the pregnant and postpartum woman. And so a lot of trainers don't know what to do and they don't know how to support you. And if that comes through how to do some workout modifications during pregnancy, signs and things to look for if the workouts that you're doing are not appropriate. And then even when it comes to postpartum, there's a lot of misinformation when it comes about when should you start working out after baby? Can you go back into the workouts that you used to do? Should losing weight and fat loss be your first priority when working out after baby? And because of this lack of information, and because I was one of those trainers that didn't know how to handle pregnant or postpartum women, I did take the time to learn more. And I was surprised about what I learned. And so the purpose of my podcast and my Facebook group and everything I do in my business is to help pregnant and postpartum women work out the way that they love and want to work out during any phase of motherhood, but with special considerations and modifications so that you can still do what you want to do, but without risking injuries. And a lot of times these injuries aren't discussed about. And then you are 12 weeks pregnant and you are stuck with prolapse. You have a diastasis that goes undiagnosed. Maybe you develop a hernia, all because you were unaware. So I'm here to provide tips, tricks, and awareness of how you can be the strongest version of yourself, whether you're pregnant or postpartum. Maybe you are dealing with something like a diastasis. I love to help women get through that phase, recover so that you have a body you're proud of and that is functional for your day to day. You can keep up with your kids, do those things that you love. You don't have to worry about sitting on the sidelines because you're dealing with injury or complication from your pregnancy or postpartum because you didn't work out properly during those times. I want to thank everyone for joining me on the podcast in this group. If you are listening to me in the Facebook group, head over to your favorite podcast player and check out the Strong Moms Fitness podcast. And if you're listening to me on the podcast, head over to Facebook and type in Strong Moms Fitness. And I'd love for you to join the Strong Moms Fitness Facebook group. The Facebook group is an extension of the podcast. A lot of times when you're hearing my podcast, it is because it's something that I thought was important and I taught live in the Facebook group. So the bonus of being the Facebook group is you can actually see me and type any questions that you have in the chat, even if you're watching a replay. I go through all the questions and make sure that I answer each and every one. Every week, I post nutrition tips and tricks, a weekly challenge, a recipe, and just a lot of extra resources for you, be that some quick 5-minute workouts. If you're looking for pregnancy and postpartum workout modifications, I do have guides for that. So a lot of cool stuff here, all in one place. And it is also a great place to meet other moms in your same situation. If you're someone that loves to work out, or maybe you're new to working out, this is still for you. The point of me being here today, jumping on with you live, is to welcome you to the group, introduce myself, show you why I created this group, and talk a little bit about my expertise and where I'm coming from. I am open to all sorts of suggestions of how you want me to improve this group. This group is designed with you in mind. So if you want to have more recipes, let me know. If you want things on certain topics, let me know. This is what I'm here for. If you're listening to the podcast, join the Facebook group. And if you are checking me out in the Facebook group, make sure you comment in the chat here, introduce yourself, and tell me a little bit about you, your struggles, how many kids you have. I'd love to learn how I can be your cheerleader, how I can support you during your pregnancy and postpartum journey. As always, I am here for any questions. So feel free to send me a DM or write your questions in the chat if you have any more questions. Let's get this party going here. So I want to welcome you and I hope you have a wonderful